Hey everybody, this is Chris Batista from CMB Reggae. I'm glad you all can join me for another interview. This is interview number 7 for Artist Spotlight for the CMB Reggae page. I am very fortunate and blessed to be joined by Mr. Michael Asante of the RVA Reggae JERK Fest. As you know, CMB Reggae covers the Mid-Atlantic, which includes New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Virginia Beach, but there are some large towns that seem to have been forgotten over the years, and I intend to shine a spotlight on them. Richmond is a scene that has some degree of tradition with reggae, and Michael Asante is going to tell us more about the Richmond reggae scene. So, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I was born in Jamaica, and I came to the United States as a young teen, full of reggae in my blood, because I grew up listening not only to reggae but to ska, and one of my favorite groups was the Skatalites. I can remember as a youth growing up, gentlemen having a sound system on the mountain across from where I live, and he would wake us up every Saturday morning with the Skatalites. I grew up.
I was under the impression that the Skatalites were from New York. Am I not correct in that?
No,
okay.
They're nowhere from New York. They were one of the biggest backing bands in Jamaica. Back Bob Marley when he just came up. And a lot of the other, Derek Morgan and a lot of the other ska stars. They were the Studio One band. Okay,
all right. So,
so when I came to New York, as I said, brought reggae in my blood. You know, lived in Brooklyn, where there are so many West Indian people.
Where in Brooklyn did you live?
In Flatbush.
In Flatbush. Okay.
Yes. Right. And so, you know, we just continued the music from that point on, because every Friday night through Sunday, there were basement parties going on. And so we would, you know, tour the basement parties from Brooklyn to Queens and back to Brooklyn before we got to bed. So we had our fill of it.
Okay. So you moved to Richmond.
Yes, I moved to Richmond. I lived in New York for quite a while, but I moved to Richmond maybe 20 years ago. And when we came to Richmond, there was an already established reggae following here, because we had guys like Arts and Entertainment Band, Drummy Zeb, you know, Mr. Ridley.
And Taro.
Yes.
And Taro Reggae Band and Richmond Dub Collective.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have a very active club scene at that time too. So reggae has always been a little bit under the surface here in Richmond. You would have to know where to go and get it, but it was here.
Well, the answer is we go to you now, because you're putting the shows together. So you're the guy. Hence the interview.
Yes. Well, I have tried to maintain that reggae feeling here in Richmond, because we started out with a festival called Carib Fest.
Okay.
And this was probably 2005, around there, 2004. So we started having a regular Caribbean festival type presentation from that time. And we brought quite a few groups here, not only reggae groups, but I know you know of the Mighty Sparrow, the King of Calypso. We brought him here, and we have sustained for a while, then we dropped off. And so after that, I came up with the idea of the RVA Reggae Jerk Fest.
Okay, so that first the first one that you did was in 2018?
2019.
In 2019, okay.
Right.
And then the last 2 years you couldn't do because of the pandemic.
Right. It kind of shut us down on
Huh?
till this year when we came up with, we decided that no matter what, we were going to continue our reggae festival. And so we kind of pushed through some difficult times in terms of wondering what the population would want if they were willing to come out during this pandemic. But we went right ahead with it, and it's been well supported since the people want it. They've been dying for it. So
okay, so it seems to me that there are three aspects of this this particular event that are coming together. One is an absolutely fantastic roots lineup with Kenyatta Culture Hill, Koolant Brown, and I Riddim. Three great acts.
yes.
Are you connected to these individuals? How are you able to get them in the lineup?
Not directly connected, but I do keep up with the reggae scene along the East Coast. And so no, I visit Virginia Beach where they have regular shows there. And so I will go to the shows and pick up some of the wonderful artists that we have here in the mid-Atlantic.
Okay, so the second aspect is a Jamaican jerk chicken competition between 10 competitors. Was this something that you came up with in your own mind, or how did this come about?
Actually, it's not jerk chicken, it's jerk anything.
Jerk anything.
Okay. Right. So we have some real wonderful chefs here in Richmond. There are a lot of Jamaican restaurants here in Richmond, and we challenge them to jerk anything. So at our last 2019, we had on the menu jerk chicken, jerk fish, jerk veggies, jerk lobster. And one of our great chefs came up with jerk rabbit. So we had that too. So it's really a contest that the chefs go out of their way to show us how creative they can be with jerk. Okay, and then the third aspect of it is the rum tent. Please explain to the audience what the rum tent is about. Believe me, the rum tent is really a big draw because we supply the patrons of the festival with a whole secluded tent where we serve different flavors of rum. And even though I'm from Jamaica, I didn't realize that they had so many different flavors of rum. It's spiced, it has fruit flavors, and of course we have the standard hard drinking rums that come from the Caribbean. So we make contact with all the producers there, and we try to get some of the best rums we can. Okay. All right. So tell us about the theme this year. Oh, the theme, we kind of, every year we try to do something different, a little different. So over the past 3 years, we have lost so many reggae icons. So we have dedicated the show to the reggae icons who have transitioned within the last few years. And of course, we can talk about Bunny Wailer, U-Roy. Yeah. Tabby and Bunny Diamond recently. And we're adding them to the show, and quite a few more. So what we do is we feature with our wonderful DJ, Soul Shot Sounds, and Mr. Proco. We feature their music during the intermissions that we have, you know, from the stage performances. So we feature all these different artists so people can reminisce of all the good reggae music that has gone down. And that remains popular because we're talking guys who might be singing for 40, 50 years. 40, 50 years, yeah, absolutely. Right. Which I did notice that
with the lineup that you had, the three artists there, every single one of them is somewhat transcendent across generations.
Yes.
That you know, I mean, particularly, you know, Koolant Brown does, he does a wide scope of sound.
Right.
You know, I mean, he originally played with the Wailers, and now he's doing a kind of club dance hall, which kind of speaks to all generations.
Yes.
And you know, Kenyatta Hill, which in my mind, having listened to him, going through his music, sounds a lot like Dillinger doing Plantation Heights, or some of the more traditional songs. And I Riddim, to me, sounds somewhat like Everton Blender doing a really deep soul sound to some solid reggae. So yeah, if you were going to line up three artists that would want to be seen by multiple generations at the same time, I think this is a really good lineup to do that.
And of course, Kenyatta Culture Hill is following in the footsteps of his father.
Yes, I did learn something about that. Apparently his father passed away on tour, and he was doing sound, and he just jumped in.
Yes.
And has been running the band ever since.
Right, and sounds very much like his father. Same tonal qualities. And we wanted to bring in some of the ladies of reggae. So we have Sister Nickey, who is a local talent right here in Richmond, and she's coming in to light the crowd up. So be prepared for that.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so the motivation behind this is also one of charity. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I have been the founder of a charitable organization called One by One Initiative. And we've had our 501c3 designation since 2012. And we are a very small organization, but we have found that the key to this kind of work is collaboration with other groups, because there are a lot of nonprofit organizations around. But when we combine our efforts and combine our funds and all that, we can produce a wonderful product. So One by One is involved a lot in youth education and leadership training. We run a lot of programs here in the city of Richmond. We do microfinancing in collaboration with other organizations. So we kind of reach out all across the world to lend money to the poorest of the poor. Okay. And one thing I've found out is that when you lend money to the poorest of the poor, you always get paid back. You know, I don't know how, but they always pay back, because they will come again looking for another small loan.
I see. Okay. So just to get the timeline and the events correct, did you create the charity first and then start the show, or we build the show and create the charity?
We had the show, well, not RVA Reggae JERK Fest, but Carib Fest here in Richmond, which also ran under a 501c3 organization. So the actual RVA Reggae JERK Fest came after my organization was formed, as I found it necessary to find a way to raise sufficient funds so our programs could be expanded. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about the Richmond reggae scene in general. Most of the bands that I am familiar with, most of the artists I'm familiar with inside of reggae seem to be mostly roots artists. Is there other types of reggae? And, you know, to some extent, I'm maybe professing a degree of ignorance on this, and that's kind of what drove me to go do this interview, because I think a lot of people in the Mid-Atlantic kind of see, you know, Richmond as its own self-contained scene, and it doesn't interact with some of the other scenes that are out there.
Yeah, well, we have here in Richmond, we have a lot of groups that come through drive-by kind of shows, and will stop in Richmond and put on a performance. We have a lot of local artists in Central Virginia, which I think you might be.
Yes, Mighty Joshua.
Mighty Joshua.
Iron Lion.
Iron Lion. Ever G.
Edwela in the Uprising.
Yes.
And yes, there are quite a few in the Shenandoah Valley.
Yes.
And so that you're saying that they, I mean, I've noticed that most of the time I've seen Mighty Joshua on a billboard or a marquee, he's playing somewhere in Richmond.
Right, he's very, very popular here, very popular. And my hat's off to Joshua.
Yes. Okay. All right. With this show, this is happening on July 17th. Is that correct?
July 9th.
July 9th. I'm sorry.
Saturday, July 9th. I must say something about the venue. It will be held at Browns Island,
yes,
which is probably the most beautiful outdoor venue in Richmond.
Okay.
It's right on the banks of the James River. It's right smack dab downtown.
Right.
Easy to get to. It's a large, wonderful park-like setting.
Right.
And it really blends itself to a good performance and a good turnout. I think it can accommodate up to 10,000 people in on a most beautiful green lawn. So, you know.
And with Richmond being so centrally located between DC and Virginia Beach, it would be easy to do a day trip from both of those towns. You had a rather large showing in 2019, did you not? There were a lot of people.
We had a very good show, and people came in not only from the areas that you mentioned, but also as far away as South Carolina. You know, so once people here, in fact, one of our jerk chefs came from all the way from Florida just to jerk.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Okay, so let's see. I think we've knocked out most of this. Is there anything else that you want to add to this interview to tell people what it is you know about this event and what you can do to sell them to get here? What about parking? How's the parking?
There's a lot of parking in the area. There are municipal parking decks in the area within walking distance. A lot of parking there. There is parking even close to the grounds on the streets. There are a lot of streets that come into that area. So parking is never a problem. Just wanted to say too, a little bit that we are a roots reggae. We really stress roots reggae because we don't want to lose that form. We don't want to lose it. We want to keep it going. We want to keep roots going. I have nothing against the dance hall. That's fine. That's an offshoot. But we are roots reggae.
Okay.
A lot of times that's what people like. They really appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Well, it was a good conversation, and once again, just give us the details. July 9th, when does the show start?
July 9th at 12 p.m. Until 9:30 p.m. So we have a good 9 hours of feasting, listening to good music.
And it's kid friendly. It's kid friendly. You have things.
Oh yeah, we have a kid zone there too. Yes.
And it's Richmond in July, so I'm presuming you have some type of refreshments or soft drinks.
We have refreshments.
Pretty toasty in Richmond in July.
Oh, sure is. And we have a large volume of tents that we put up. That people and tents and chairs. Although of course you can bring your own. You can lay out on the grass, but we always have enough tent space and enough chair space so people can get out of the sun.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for showing up and joining us for this interview. For the rest of the CMB Reggae audience, as usual, expect to see a different interview every month of a new artist or new person who's putting on a show. And I will continue to bring intelligence to all of you from all across the Mid-Atlantic. Thank you for joining us, Michael, and you will see this video posted soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much.